One of your loved ones has been killed by the negligent or reckless action of another person, there should be compensation available for you to be able to take care of funeral expenses, if they had any medical bills because they survived for a period of time, or, for the most important part, taking care of their loved ones moving forward. We have seen too many cases of people who have died too young, who have left kids behind, and the family is now struggling to take care of those kids because that person is no longer with us. Now, there's a couple of different things to look at when we're talking about that person. First is their life. What is the person's life worth? And then that's the unfortunate question that we have to answer, because a life is priceless. But the problem is that when we talk about compensation and helping the family move on financially from this, you have to put a value on that. So here's what we look at, and here's what the insurance company is going to look at. They'll want to know lost wages. What would the wages have been for this person over the span of their lifetime? The second is, what is the raises they would have received? So one of the things that we do is what we would hire as an economist. That person will help us put together what their wages were, the life expectancy of that person. So there's a whole chart that tells you, okay, so this person was 30 years old at the time of their death. They are expected to live another 37, 40 years, and they would be working for, let's say, 30 or 35 of those years. And so with an annual increase of 3%, they would get X. And then that's the determination of what their, not only their present, but their future lost wages are. Then when you take that, you then have to add in what's called non-economic damages. So if that person was alive for a period of time, then what you would do is you would say, okay, what is the pain and suffering that he or she was going through at that period of time until their death? But then what you would also do is you would say, okay, the family, the children, the wife, they all have what's called a loss of consortium claim. Basically a loss of love, a loss of ability to, loss of companionship, loss of services. If you have if the family member who passed away would be the one who would, let's say, do all the cooking because you worked full time, or they were the ones who did all the landscaping. Those are things that you take into account when assessing how much this life is worth in accordance to a jury. This will never take away what their true value is, which is priceless. But these are the things we have to look at when we're making a wrongful death claim on your family's behalf. So, for example, if there was a fatal car accident, the family of the deceased, you actually cannot sue everyone that's involved. You have to set up an estate first because the claim is with the estate. Now, there are different types of survivorship claims, but for its basic claim, the estate has to be set up. So you're going to need a probate lawyer to make sure that you set up the estate and make sure that it's set up properly. And then what you do from there is what you're looking at is all the parties who could be involved. So for instance, in a recent case that I had, not only was the driver at fault and available for compensation, but the company who hired that person and he was driving on their behalf at that time was also liable through, basically the employer had put this person behind the wheel and that person had caused an injury. So those are the things that when you're hiring a personal injury lawyer for your wrongful death case, you need to keep those things in mind, because the right attorney will make sure to look at everything and maximize the value. Our number one job with a wrongful death claim is to make sure that we have put the top value on the case and gotten maximum value for the family. Without someone in your corner, the insurance company is going to try to pay you as quickly as possible, and probably for less than the policy limits. Their goal is to either throw a bunch of money at you to say, hey, here's a bunch of money, please take this, we're so sorry. And then you find out later after you've accepted it, there's much more available to take care of your family. And so if an insurance company calls you soon after the death of a loved one, you need to be very, very skeptical about what they are offering you. Because if you haven't put together the numbers, if you haven't thought about what the loss of services or the loss of consortium or the loss of or the mental anguish that you've had to go through, if you haven't considered all of that when you're considering a wrongful death settlement, you're leaving money on the table to take care of your family moving forward. Because you can only do this once. There is no second bite at the apple when it comes to a wrongful death settlement. You can't go back to the insurance company 3 years later and say, look, I think I settled for the wrong amount. There is a lot of available here that I need to take care of my family. Insurance company says, sorry, you settled with us, and that's the end of it. The other thing to consider is wrongful death. You have 2 years to file a lawsuit or settle the claim. So you have time. You have time to put all this stuff together, and you have time to get the right lawyer on your side to help put these cases together for you. Now, the other key at Bressman Law when dealing with these wrongful death cases, we like to be that person to take this off of your plate. You're already dealing with a lot. You're already dealing with your family. If you have kids, your kids. You're dealing with the estate. Let us handle your personal injury case and maximize the settlement for you, your family, and for your future. If we can help, if you're looking for someone to represent you on a wrongful death claim, give Bressman Law a call at 614-538-1116. Or you can always email me at jedediah@bressmanlaw.com.